Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rainbow Six Siege lore video. So in this video we're going to be taking a closer look at Grimm and more specifically the information which he now knows on Nøkk and where that is actually going to lead. Now a quick little recap for you guys who do not know, Grimm was actually tasked in tracking down Nøkk after Nøkk infiltrated Nighthaven's base. In doing so, Grimm actually found where she lived, what she looks like, who her family is, and basically everything about her. And the last we saw about that was during the end of the Operation Brutal Swarm comic, and then the next piece of lore we got after that was the cinematic for Operation Solar Raid, in which we learned that Nighthaven weren't actually responsible for Yahata's death, and that Nighthaven aren't really the main antagonist of Rainbow now. However, this does not mean that Rainbow and Nighthaven still aren't at odds with each other. There is still definitely a massive conflict between the two teams, and there's definitely going to be even more found out about that in the future. And although now they do have a common enemy, it seems like the tension between the two teams are still at an all-time high. And Nøkk having a secret identity isn't simply because she wants to remain anonymous, that her identity being revealed could pose a threat to national security, with it being said in her bio that her personal records are sealed at NATO. Now this has led many people to theorize over the years who she actually is. Many have thrown out ideas that she's like Sam Fisher's daughter, maybe the third sister to Ella and Zofia, but the most plausible theory that people have put out is that she's actually part of the Danish Royal Family, which would explain a lot as to why keeping her identity hidden is vital. Now we can rule a lot of stuff out because we do know her full name, which is Karina Gordoye, and so maybe in Siege lore the Gordoyes are a fictitious royal family, or maybe she's not a royal at all, but she must have major ties to someone, whether she's the daughter or just has some form of relation that requires her identity to be that secretive. That means Nighthaven now have the power over Team Rainbow and literally poses a threat to national security, because Nighthaven are kind of treading on thin ice because they are basically blackmailing Team Rainbow with NATO secrets. Now taking a look at what Harry says about it and her identity, he says the following: "When they looked me in on Nøkk's real identity, I cracked open her secret dossier with schoolboy glee. I love a good mystery and I was not disappointed. Nøkk's real identity has been a prickly issue given the potential scandal should it ever made public. Frankly, had I not known who Nøkk's father was, I wouldn't have noticed the family resemblance. But it smacks you in the face when you know the truth. I wonder how Nøkk felt about all this and how it influenced her upbringing. Nøkk tried to dismiss it as one of the realities of the job, but eventually I learned enough to start painting a portrait. Nøkk's mother raised her and the pair are close to the point of being best friends. It's almost tribal how protective they are of each other. Nøkk knew about her father and his family, but it took a while before the family knew about Nøkk. They tried to give Nøkk a better life, but without bringing her into the fold out of fear of courting a major scandal for the family. Nøkk is fiercely loyal to her mother, so I found it surprising Nøkk was loyal to her father out of respect for the family name itself. You think there'd be some resentment there, but Nøkk is comfortable quietly serving Queen and country and everything else that falls under the umbrella. Her Darwinist outlook isn't rooted in her own safety, but rather the betterment of soldiers of her unit and her country. So reading that actually teaches us a lot about Nøkk and who her family actually are. It does say that she does have a very close relationship with her mother, but it is her father's side which carries a strong name. Once again, kind of backs the theory that she is at least somewhat related or involved in the royal family of Denmark, and that does explain why her identity can be used as blackmail and cause potential scandals. Now we can rule out a lot of the other theories actually based on the Brutal Swarm comic, where we can actually see family portraits on the wall in Nøkk's house, and in this we can actually see a couple with a child. Now we don't know if this is Nøkk and her husband, or we don't know if that's her parents and she's the child, considering Harry's report did say that she was raised by her mother, and considering it says that it took a while before her father and family actually knew about Nøkk, the child in these photos would definitely be too young, because it seems like her father wasn't very much involved when she was this age. So honestly, I think we're led to believe that this woman with the blonde hair is actually Nøkk. As far as I'm aware, we've actually never seen what colour her hair actually is. The most we've actually seen of Nøkk is a bit of her face, and it's mainly the bottom half of her face we see the most, where she usually has dark lipstick on, which has kind of been a character trait every time we've partially seen her face. But in the Brutal Swarm lore comic, we do see that she doesn't have any of that lipstick on, showing that she's in more of a relaxed and comfortable state when she's at her house, meaning that she's actually more vulnerable. So yeah, I definitely think the theory that she is part of the Danish royal family is very plausible, as I really can't think of any other family ties that she would have which would cause her identity to be that valuable. I've seen a lot of people say, oh well, we know her surname and that doesn't match up with the real Danish royal family, but this is also a fictional universe and they don't actually use the same people who in real life. For example, Warden protected an ex-president whose name was Baldwin, and that isn't a real American president. So yeah, it doesn't matter that that isn't actually a real royal family surname, this is a fictional universe. So going forward, what is actually going to happen? Grimm did say that that was a warning and to not cross Nighthaven again. And literally in the next cinematic, we can actually see Kavera and Solace crossing Nighthaven and Callie. So does that mean that Grimm is just going to reveal this information now? Are we going to see Nøkk's entire identity fully revealed soon. I feel like that's a really major plot point to try and tackle when you're also trying to introduce new operators as well. Because listen, I adore the lore in this game, but cinematics are like 2 minutes long at most, and the comic book only consists of a few pages. So when you've got to devote a lot of that to setting up the brand new operator at that time, then also trying to develop this side plot with Nøkk is going to be quite difficult. And I know I always end up in this conclusion, but that is why we need a single player game. Can you imagine just a game dedicated about Nøkk, where she could experience the fallout of her full identity being revealed, and you have this massive single player campaign where other operators will appear as well. I always talk about single player campaigns because you can make so many good campaign games out of all the operators in this game. In my ideal world, every single operator in this game would have a 20-hour long campaign game. So what else are we going to learn about the lore coming soon? We know that we are going to be learning more about Redhammer later this season, so I doubt we'll see more about Nøkk and Grim then. And then in next season, which is year 8 season 1, which is absolutely crazy, we're probably going to be learning about Hibana's squad. So maybe this entire Nøkk and Grim storyline was purely just a baseless threat and is actually not going to go anywhere. Or maybe it's just not going to escalate as soon as we think it is, and there'll just be more of a focus on other operators and the new operators in the meantime. But I really hope this storyline doesn't get swept under the rug, because it is actually one of the most interesting storylines in the whole of Rainbow Six Siege I think we've had so far. Because I am genuinely really interested to learn who Nøkk really is, what the fallout of her identity being revealed could be like, and all the consequences that will have. But yeah, Nøkk has been one of the major players in the lore. She was very much a big part when Sam Fisher was introduced, and of course we have talked about the massive relationship that those two operators have, and how I have been theorizing that she's actually going to be the successor to Sam Fisher. She was also a major part when Thunderbird was introduced. In the lore comic for that, she actually jumped Thunderbird and actually had a fight with her in some form of some weird warped training exercise. And of course in Operation Vector Glare, we were found to be infiltrating Nighthaven base, and it was revealed at the end that Nøkk was actually helping the Wolfguard squad do that. And then of course we see Nøkk solo infiltrate Nighthaven's base as well. And then obviously we had the lore comic, which we've been talking about in this video, where Grim actually finds Nøkk's location and finds out all the personal information about her. So yeah, they have dedicated a lot of time over the past 2 years into developing Nøkk as a character and her story, so this definitely is not the end of this operator. So guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think Nøkk really is? Do you think she is part of the Danish Royal Family like a lot of other people are theorizing? Why do you think her personal records are that secure and dangerous that NATO actually have to have them locked up? I'm really interested to hear everyone's thoughts about this, so if you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe for more Siege lore videos. Have an incredible rest of your day guys, I love you all, stay safe, peace.